Hi, I'm Thomas Johnson, and I'm the founder and CEO of GetUpNGetFit's Wellness Coaching Concierge. I'm also a C-suite advisor and investor. And you're listening to How May I Serve You, where I'm constantly on the quest to surround myself with the best coaches while learning how to better serve our executive clientele by asking them, How may I serve you? Today's show is sponsored by Get Up and Get Fit. And Get Up and Get Fit will be providing students with textbooks and school supplies in Cambodia in honor of our guest today, as well as our philanthropic mission to impact at least 50,000 people per year. And today's guest is Donald Monistere. Donald, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. Awesome, awesome. So Don is currently the CEO and president at General Informatics, but he has been a well-known executive for many years in the technology space and has been quite successful in his career as an executive in the information technology industry. His resume is an extensive one indeed, working as Chief Operations Officer for IBML, Senior Vice President and General Manager at C-Spire, served in a leadership role for Tech Links, including taking on the president role prior to its acquisition, and was the founder and CEO, as well as the president of Vista Information System. Don has a strong background in successfully leading information technology companies. His experience in sales, marketing, operation, and IT services, along with support, helps organizations accelerate their growth trajectory, better serve the customers, and facilitates management framework that allows organizations like Vista, TechLinks, and IBML to scale their operations and prepare for hyper growth. So Monistere is also an established author with his three-book trilogy, the first being Enhanced Life Performance in 2017, and his second, Enhanced Executive Performance, and his third in the trilogy, Enhanced Corporate Performance, due to release late this summer. Woo, Don, wow. You have an extensive resume, man.
Man, look, I appreciate it when somebody introduces me like that. I get nervous. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to sound intelligent here. I'm gonna have to actually do my job. So,
There we go. So let's dive right into this interview. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man, the 2 minute version.
yeah, okay. So, Reader's Digest version. Grew up in Hammond, Louisiana. Graduated from Southeastern Louisiana University. Great university, great experience. But man, I jumped right into information technology right out of college in 1989. I know everybody's
Okay.
thinking, no way, right? You can't be that old. But no, I jumped into IT, and man, I never looked back. I had no idea that the industry was going to explode the way that it did, but I was very fortunate to be around some incredible people. I started my own company in 1993 when I was 23 years old. I said, you know what? I
Wow.
obviously know everything I need to know in order to be a business owner, but I had no idea what I was doing. And sometimes that's better, right? Sometimes that's better. But ran that company for 15 years, sold it to a private equity company, and then got the good fortune of working with a company called Tech Links and some awesome leaders, awesome individuals that taught me a lot. And I stayed there for about 11 years, eventually became the president. We transacted that business in 2018, and I got out of IT for a couple of years, and man, I'm right back into it. I was still in technology. I had that IT itch, and a private equity company out of Dallas, Rosewood Private Investments, called me and said, "Hey, man, we want you to look at coming to this company, General Informatics, and being a leader here, and would love to have you as a part." And man, having a blast doing it.
There you go. That sounds awesome right there. So Don, take us back a little bit, right? Let's dive into your childhood. Were you one of those kids growing up that was very entrepreneur, like shoveling the snow and cleaning people's cars for money? Because with a resume such as yours, you are constantly on the go and you are a businessman.
Yeah, so yeah, it's crazy. When I was growing up, we used to take cinnamon concentrate, and we would soak them in toothpicks, and then we would wrap them up in aluminum foil and sell them for 5 cents a pack. Um, and I couldn't have been more than like I was probably in the third or fourth grade, and we would sell them at recess until my teachers found out, and they said, "Hey, you can't do that because it's like candy, so you can't do it." But that was my first like real business, and it was me and my cousin and my brother that were in it, and we were splitting up those nickels and dimes, man, just making sure we were making a profit.
That's awesome right there, man. It's always great to hear these stories because most people that I know who are an amazing executives, they have the same type of childhood, right? They started off being entrepreneur. Like myself, I used to shovel snow. I sold candy in school as well until we got booted, right?
Right,
You
right.
know, so I get it, man. The entrepreneur it starts at a young age, you know, but at that time it's fun. You're not thinking about any type of like repercussions if you mess up. It's fun,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Well, and you know, and in high school, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had no idea what I was going to do. Right, I had no
Okay.
idea how that was going to come about. But when I went into college and started looking for that job as I was getting toward the end, I knew I want to be an entrepreneur. I know I'm not going to be able to afford a mainframe, so I may as well go figure out a little bit about this thing called a personal computer back then. And so that's actually how I got into IT. I said, "Hey, I'll go to work for a guy who's running this little personal computer store," and I started learning IT that way. And it just made sense. 3 years later, I started my own systems integration company, and man, it's been like it's been 100 miles an hour ever since. So
You started at the right place at the right time, man,
I,
because everything now is computer based.
that's
Hence this
right.
conversation right now, this interview.
That's right. I always say, "Hey, man, you got to prepare to be lucky," right? And so
Oh, I
while
like that. I like that.
yeah, I mean, I figured, you know what? I made a good decision, and I could have never known what was going to happen, right, to the IT industry. But we had to prepare to be lucky because it was still hard work.
Hmm.
We had to dig in. We had to make sure that we were doing the right thing for our customers, because otherwise, if you don't, they don't come back. So, yeah, you got to be prepared. You got to prepare to be lucky, and when luck does come, you got to take advantage of it.
Yes, indeed. So for those of you who are listening right now, if you can see Don, so this guy, he looks like he's 35 years old. He looks like he's like my age, right? But he mentioned he graduated college in like the late 80s. So
That's
I
right.
so
That's
so
right.
Don, tell us a little bit more about your typical work week as an executive, because a person that looks that good, you know, and you look vibrant and you work a lot, what's your secret, man?
Well, look, man, it's deliberate, and that's one of the things you mentioned. My books. It's one of the things that Enhanced Life Performance talks about. It's really about how do you put yourself in the best position to be successful, and a lot of that for me, not just from a spiritual perspective, but also from a all-encompassing spirit, mind, and body. So
Mm,
when I wake up in the morning, I wake up at 4 o'clock. I do the same thing every single day. I write for 15 minutes. I read for 15 minutes. And then I'll typically will check my email and work for about 30 minutes to make sure that everything is where it needs to be. And then I go train for 2 hours.
ooh,
I'm usually in the gym for about, I say 2 hours, about an hour and a half. And then I'm at work at about 7:45. And so I've been up since 4, already thinking about work, already working. And that's really just the first 4 hours of the day. Then the real work starts, right?
there
So,
you go.
but I'm very deliberate about how my nutrition regimen works. I'm very regimented as it has to do with when and how I train,
Mm,
and it really does put me in a position to execute at a higher level than what most people would consider is capable at the ripe old age of 53. I've got 4 kids. I got a 35-year-old daughter, a 25-year-old daughter, 23-year-old son, and
wow.
20-year-old youngest son. So they keep me busy, obviously, but man, look, it's a deliberate approach. And I always say that I'm trying to put myself in alignment with what the Holy Spirit wants for me and my
Amen.
family. And man, if I do that and I listen and I put myself in that position, success always comes, because I think the Holy Spirit knows when you're a good steward of that and you're investing in helping other people by coaching and teaching, and when given the opportunity, leading, right? That just always comes back to you. So I love that as a way to continue to try to drive my life and focus my attention on those things that are important.
You know what I like, man? I love the fact that you lead by example. You lead by example, starting from your morning schedule, right? Your morning
Yeah.
regimen. As a high performer, you understand the importance of investing in yourself before anything else, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And kudos to you, man, because I'm working towards being like you. I'm in my late 30s right now, and you're
Yeah.
looking great in your 50s. So I got to continue pushing and living that lifestyle, man, that high performance but balanced lifestyle.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so Don, knowing how hard you work and how full your schedule is, have you experienced any health or wellness challenges along your journey?
No, I mean, I've been real fortunate in that, I was an athlete growing up, in high school, played baseball at a high level. I was actually a competitive bodybuilder late in my late high school years and into going into college. I actually qualified for the Mr. Universe back in the
Wow.
day. Yeah, so I've always really been in tune to what, my body needed from a standpoint of rest and nutrition. And I wasn't always that healthy guy. I was the quintessential fat kid in school, and I was picked on and bullied and all that stuff. And I just decided, man, I'm done with that. I don't want to do that anymore. And so I've been a martial arts instructor. I've run triathlons. I
Wow.
spend a lot of time focusing on my health and making sure that I'm really in a position to execute at a higher level than what most can, and not to be necessarily competitive. It's the standard that I wanted to set for myself. And
Hmm.
so I've been fortunate that I haven't had major setbacks. And you always have these nagging injuries as you get a little bit older. But I've always said that at some point in my life, I was going to have to shift from performance to longevity. I haven't quite made the shift yet. I'm getting really close where it's like, okay, hey, maybe you shouldn't train for 2 solid hours, or maybe you should dial it back a little bit. But man, I'm still focused on trying to perform at a very high level. And I still think we as adults, as children of God, we can continue to execute at that level for as long as we want to. So
Yes, indeed, man. I definitely believe in the fact that we have limitless potential, and we just have to
yes,
tap into it. We have to tap into that potential. And being a person of faith as well, I live that. I live that on my sleeve. I live that on a regular basis. So continue pushing forward and living your truth, And
yes,
also,
absolutely.
I'm glad you focus on longevity, because I'm a steward. I'm a steward of this study as well, because my grandfather lived to be 109 years old.
What?
So I'm trying to hit at least 110.
See,
So I'm
that's a
trying to hit
perfect
at
goal.
least 110. So
That's
that's what's
perfect.
pushing me forward, man.
That's awesome, man.
So now I want to ask you this question. Everyone have a different answer, but what drives you, man?
Look, man, there are different things throughout the day that drive me to do the different things that I do when I think from a tactical perspective. But
Okay.
overall, if I really break it down to like kind of root cause analysis, what is it that I'm truly trying to do? It's really to leave a legacy. Like, as most men want to leave a legacy. It's interesting, when I wrote my first book, I interviewed 50 women and 50 men, and I asked the same question, and the question came back down to leaving a legacy. And for men, they want to leave a legacy for the whole world. For women, they want to leave a legacy for their family. Now, I don't know what that says about men. I think we're just egotistical, right? So,
Selfish.
but but yeah, I want the way that I approach my life and the way that I approach my family, and I want that to be remembered. I owe it to my grandfather. I respectfully call him Chief. We used to call him Chief because he kind of had this air of aristocracy about him, and he was an Italian immigrant. He came to this country, and he was illiterate and had to work his entire life, but he was wise beyond measure.
Hmm.
And I learned so much from him. I learned so much from what he taught me, and I just love the fact that I have the opportunity to continue his legacy by working on my own and
Hmm.
really investing in other people and really loving and caring for other people. That's one of the things that he did so incredibly well. So my drive is one, I want to live up to the legacy of my grandfather, and The second thing would be to create that same legacy so that my children and my children's children hopefully can, tell stories about how I ruled the world and was, on the back of a dragon. I hope the stories get blown out of proportion completely, right? So
Awesome. Yeah, that's amazing right there. So, so now the next question, right? What do you believe you need to improve on right now in order for you to get to the next level? Being that you have accomplished so much at the age where you're at right now.
yeah, no, I think that's a great question, and I think the simple answer is consistency, right? I mean, um, as an entrepreneur, as the CEO of a very fast growing business, there are responsibilities and things that pull on you every single day. Whether we're looking at acquiring another business or organically growing into a new territory, it's really being consistent across the entire portion of your day, making sure that you're giving the right attention to the right things and the right items, and it takes a little bit of what I would call critical thinking to know what those things are, because there truly are a lot of things coming at you at one time. But I think that's really the key is I need to maintain consistency. I need to stay the course. Again, as I mentioned, my life is very deliberate. I plan out everything. I have the very same process as I go through, and I have to stay consistent with that, because sometimes what happens is you do something that's proven and it works, and then things get busy and you get away from it and you're like, why am I struggling? And you realize, oh, I'm not doing that thing that I used to do so consistently and so well. Why don't I go back to doing that? And I tell my leaders that I coach who ask me that question, I'm like, that's that, you rank that in that it works so well we stopped doing it, because I hear that all the time. It's like, well, we used to do this and it worked so well. Why'd you stop doing it?
No,
We
stop.
don't know. Yeah, you just don't stop doing that. So I think
Trust the process.
consistency, yeah, consistency is truly the answer there.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. I mean, that's so important. I mean, with anything in life, I believe consistency is key, right? With
Yeah.
especially being like a former bodybuilder, you have to be
Yes.
consistently working out and training your body in order for you to achieve a certain peak or a certain goal, I should say. So, that word right there, I think it's underused. It's
Yes.
underused. You know.
Yes. I would agree with you. You're right. And it, the thing that most folks don't realize is that it's not doing, two things, 100% right. It's doing 2,000 things about 99% right, right? And so if you stay consistent and continue to stay on the course, man, it makes a huge impact in the overall success of your business, success of your career, success of your life as well. So
Yes, indeed. So, what advice would you like to give to other executives about staying on top of the game?
yeah, again, we could probably touch on all the things that we talked about. Consistency, obviously, being key. Constantly learning, constantly exposing yourself to various, diverse um, methods of education. Like, don't just read a certain type of books. Try to get into a lot of different media.
Mhm.
And I always say that diversity of thought is truly leads to intelligence. And
Mm,
so I would tell you to be a critical thinker. And my definition of critical thinking is not deep thinking. A lot of people say, oh, we need to critically think about this, which means we need to think about it more. No, I would say challenge your thought process. Be critical of your thought process. Challenge your context, because there's a lot of times if you don't challenge the context in which you have, you really can't see the other side of a particular issue or opportunity or challenge. You and I might have been brought up very much the same way, so our viewpoint might be exactly the same way. What about somebody that grew up in a totally different country? What about somebody who did I grew up fairly, we didn't have anything, man. We didn't have much of anything. I'd love to talk to somebody who had everything. What does that
mhm.
look like? And so I would just say challenge your thought processes, challenge the kind of the status quo, and make sure you're setting really high standards for yourself and for those around you, and make sure that you're adhering to them, because there's nothing worse than setting a high standard for somebody else and then you don't adhere to them, right? That's not the way to do that. But set that standard high, and and always, aggressively go after it. People say, be careful what you wish for. I say, man, wish with reckless abandon, man. Just do.
Ooh,
Yeah, man, stop being careful with what you wish for. Sometimes God gives us those things that we wish for. If you were careful with it, you got something, the outcome isn't that great, right?
there you go. There you go. So I guess basis go in head first. Go in head
That's
first.
right. Be bold, man. I'll say this. I've never been bold in my decision making where it didn't serve me in some way. Never. And now, does that mean I got
Mm,
everything I wanted? No. But if I didn't get something, I learned. I learned from that experience. I
exactly.
learned, and so I would just say, be bold, man.
Yeah, man. I don't believe in losses. I believe in either win or you learn.
That's
And
right.
it's still so important. A lot of folks, when they get hit with a curveball, they tend to fall and stay down for too long. Right?
Right.
You have
Right.
to you have to get back up.
That's
Get back
right.
up. Get back up onto the mound. Swing
That's
again.
that's right. That's right.
So, are you currently working on any new projects that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, so obviously I started as the CEO of General Informatics back in November. So man, we're aggressively growing that company. We have a number of potential acquisitions in front of us, as well as organically growing into other areas of our geography. We're really a southeastern-based focused company, and so we're expanding out in the state of Alabama right now, and we're looking into going into Texas, Panhandle of Florida, North Carolina. So we'll continue to expand that. And as you mentioned, I'm finishing up my last of the three Enhanced series book. This is Enhanced Corporate Performance. Enhanced Life Performance was really more about the individual and how you put yourself in alignment with what the Holy Spirit wants for you, so that you can execute at a higher level. And then Enhanced Executive Performance was really about, okay, now that I'm operating at a different level, how do I make that as part of my career? How does I make that work for me as an executive? And Enhanced Corporate Performance is, okay, now that I've got all these executives and they're they're hitting a certain level that most people don't hit, how do I build that into my company and create a corporate framework that can take advantage of that? And so it's really kind of the finale, if you will, of the 3-part series. And look, it's all based in the same concept, which is, there are certain things that we are put on this earth to do. And if we stay in alignment with that, then good things happen for yourself and for others. And if you, as long as you're a good steward of that, then good things, I think, will continue to happen. Look, it doesn't mean that it's easy though, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes it gets super hard, and sometimes you get challenged with things that you're not used to. But I'm excited and ready to get that third book done, and then I might take a break from writing for a little while, and see what the next challenge will be after that.
there you go. Well deserved. Well deserved. By the way,
Thank you, man.
after all that
Thank
work
you.
you've been putting in over the years.
Yeah.
So, if someone were to inquire about your services or just want to connect with you, Don, where can they find you?
Yeah. So look, the first thing you can do is just email me at donm@geninf.com. I'll say that one more time, donm@geninf.com. That is the URL for General Informatics. And if you want to see more about what we're doing in IT, General Informatics, geninf.com is our website. And feel free to reach out to me via that method. You can also, the company that distributes my books and does all that is called alignment.com. You can email me there as well at info@alignment.com. Alignment is spelled ALLYGNMENT.com, and the alignment is spelled that way because it's an ally. This company is
Okay.
an ally with you in life and in business. So I would just say those two ways are the best ways to get in touch with me. And send me an email. I'm doing some training in Birmingham, Alabama on the 28th, and in Baton Rouge in August, on August the 19th, on Enhanced Life Performance, Enhanced Executive Performance. So if there's something that you might be interested in, send me an email and we'll get you up. We'll hook you up with a special coupon code that will save you a ton of money just because you're watching this podcast.
There you go. There you go. Perfect. So, guys, take advantage of that, right? Make sure to hit up Don. Hit him up ASAP. ASAP. So, Don, thank you for coming on How May I Serve You? And thanks for sharing your experience and your immense knowledge with us, right? And Also, thanks to the followers for lending us their ears and their eyeballs. And last but not least, how may I serve you, Don?
Man, you're doing it. You're doing it every day. The first conversation that we had, we connected, and I knew that we were like-minded. We had the same heart, and the way that I would ask you to serve me is to help me serve others, because that's really what we're put on this earth to do. And continue to lead with your heart. You know, I was an MMA fighter, and you never lead with your chin, right? You don't ever do that. And some people in business would tell you, and in life tell you, don't lead with your heart because you can get hurt. I would ask you, man, be bold and lead with your heart, and make sure that people know that you're there to help them. And you keep doing that, I'll keep doing it, and man, good things will happen.
There we go. This is why I love connecting with like-minded individuals. Like when I first hopped on the call with Don, we connected. It
Yeah,
seemed
we
like
did.
I knew this guy for like years, you know? So now we're on this podcast. Bless you guys for knowledge and information. Hit him up. Please go hit him up. He's such an amazing individual, such an amazing individual. So Don, let's wrap this up. Everyone, once again, thanks for coming on and tuning in. And make sure to tune in to next week's episode. Cheers.
Cheers.